Hi folks, Ed Snyder with Kansas Trapline Products. I'm bringing you this new YouTube video to show my process for testing some lures. Now when I go out into my lure building to formulate a new lure, as I've done with what I'm calling Lure X, I have a direction I want to go with it. In this case, I wanted to go with a food-based lure odor. I also wanted to have some enhancers that I threw into it to based on experience, but I put in it because I wanted it to call the animal in a soft call, meaning it still had the ability to pull the animal in through a few enhancements, curiosities along with it, but for the main base of the odor to be a food lure. Now it's important that I go out there on the trap line and I test this product in a variation of manners. I have the flat set, which is the most likely that an animal will want to roll on it, right? So if they have some type of odor to it that is something they want on their body, well then they have a tendency to want to put a shoulder into it, and what you end up finding is a bunch of fur in a trap from catching their back hairs. The other side of it is I want to find out did it hold their attention. And a flat set, obviously, where they have to go up to it and they're licking or biting the object that you're applying, such as in the video I'm going to show a T-bone set. When that is a good indication of whether you've got them or you don't have them. The second way I wanted to use this is in a dirt hole. The dirt hole is obviously a lot more friendly for louder odors when it comes to the animal wanting to roll in it. They have to get down into the hole to get at the odor, so generally you can get the animal caught. But at the same token is your lure odors is not on top, but where it gets out in the air currents, but the lure odors are actually down in the hole. So we want to be able to make sure that it has enough interest for the animal to go down and work that set, right? So it takes a little more energy. I want to talk about the 4 different types of odors that are generally out there. We can count urine as an odor, but that isn't what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is there's food lures, food odors, food flavors. You follow what I'm saying? Because they don't have to be the same. They can smell like food and they're not food, right? So kind of like getting coffee smells good, but when you go to drink it, it smells like tastes like tepid water. So we don't want to confuse that. So we want to know on a food odor, does it taste good? Does it smell good? Does it give all the things that you want to? So what's the animal's reaction when they get there? Does it hold their attention? Do they want to continue to work at your set? We also have curiosity lures. Curiosity lures does just what the name implies. It provokes the animal to want to check it out. The problem with most curiosity lures is that they don't really hold the animal's attention much longer after the curiosity is settled. Once the animal realizes that the curiosity sense, whether it's something that's a synthetic form or an oil that's inedible, palatability-wise inedible, or something along that line, it had their curiosity. They came over to it. They says, okay, yeah, I know what that is, but I don't want to eat it. You know, I licked it and I don't want to touch it, so I'm going to move on. The next thing is a matrix lure. Matrix lures, in my mind, come in a lot of different lure makers' categories. They could be something that has curiosity, it has something with a food in it, or it could be, you know, just 2 total different types of curiosities. I don't want to blanket into one thing, but the name matrix is used quite a bit. In my own case, the matrix lure that I have is what I call is tall grass supreme, where it has curiosities and it has some added food to them to hold their attention a little bit longer. Whereas use something like Final Destination or Oklahoma Suicide Sauce of mine, they would be classified more in the curiosity category. It has great curiosity, but they don't necessarily hold their attention as long. So you need to get the animal caught. Great tool to use on the trap line. I want to be without the curiosity lures, but understand their limitations. How do we know what type of lures we have in our lure bucket, in our lure pouch? I mean, we'll just call it lure XYZ sitting right here. XYZ is this. Everybody's talking about XYZ, and so I go pick up X, Y, and Z, and for whatever it's worth, X, Y, and Z turns right around animals roll in it and everything, and so you take that lure and you throw it away, right? Or it sits in the back of your truck or your lure shed, and it isn't being used. Well, XYZ lure might be a very good lure, but the problem comes down is we maybe didn't use it right, or it could have been in an individual animal. I mean, they're individuals, of course, but we need to have that conversation with the lure maker. Ask them why the product was developed and what was its purpose. Was it an alternative food source, which you could have a lot of different lures in the category of food. I mean, as an example, I have My Last Sunset and I have Final Approach, both in Last Dance and Monty Dotson's Positive Attraction. Those are all food. Those are all food-based lures and stuff. So why have 4 of them? Why do you need 4? Well, you don't really need 4, but what you do is you're changing up the pace. You're changing things up. I think that's what's important on the trap line is to have multiple odors. Because let's just say he's been there, seen that, done that. Well, you're out of luck, right? I mean, you're out of luck because the animal walks right on by that set. It isn't either that or just isn't appealing to him. But what about set number 2 down the road? You know, I mean, it could even have T-bone at the first location, T-bone at the second location, and they both have the same wind currents and everything being normal. But for whatever reason is that set number 2, that lure odor grabbed his attention. That's the lure odor, and I can't say that it's better than the other. Remember when I say that, it doesn't necessarily mean one is better than the other, but we offered him something that was more appealing to him at the second station than it was the first set location. So when we get into this testing business, and you've already made the phone call, you've contacted your lure maker, and he's told you kind of how it's supposed to be. Something else that we can do on our own trap lines to understand the process or its best functionality, and that would be we can use it with our own domestic animals. We can set it out there. That's a very easy way. I'm not talking about poisoning your animals. I'm not talking about anything like that, but we can certainly go out there with a match head stick worth if that becomes a concern, and we can watch their reactions. Remember that temperatures and time of year vary with the way the animals react to it. And what I mean by temperatures being an influence, you use a very loud skunky odor out there, and everybody knows what gusto is, and I have a lure called Kansas Call. You go out there with those type of lures in July when it's 90 to 100 degrees out, and it's a good chance you're going to have that animal's rolling all in that. So temperature makes a big difference. The other thing that makes a difference is the time of year. Food lures don't necessarily always work that great. That has some taint on them when it's plenty of young rabbits around and fawn deer are out. They're getting plenty of food, fresh food, and the last thing they need is some tainted bait, as an example. So understanding these different principles when you're out testing your stuff, just because your domestic animal or just because your animal control project in July didn't work out that well with lure XYZ, doesn't mean it's not a bad. It doesn't mean it's a bad lure. It just may be the wrong time of year. So when you talk to your lure maker, ask them the optimum time of year. I know I'm kind of rambling on here, but I'm hoping I can help somebody with it. Please enjoy my testing on the trap line. I know there that you're going to be very pleased with the success that I had. 3 sets and caught 2 coyotes on the first check. I'm very happy with Lure X. I don't know what the name's going to be, and Super Sauce or X Factor, I don't know what it's going to be, but thanks for watching, and I hope this film can help you on your trap line by getting you more educated about your products before you go out on them. Here in February, trapping some coyotes for some spring calving conditions. They're having a lot of problems with some coyotes taking on calves, problem with some disease that the canines carry. So I need to get out here and do this to protect my own property, to help my rancher landowner. Today isn't about putting in sets to me. It's about catching coyotes, but it's also I take the advantage of this situation and I try out a new lure. This lure right here doesn't have a name to it. We'll just call it Lure X for now. It's a Gonner Lure, getter lure, which basically means it's kind of a souped up food lure. The lure itself is spreadable, it's pasty, something I can put on T-bones, something I can use a dirt hole to find out just exactly what this lure can do. It's certainly a food base. It's got some enhancers to it. It's got some ingredients that makes them want to bite down on it, as in a getter lure, bite down and pull. Because I'm testing this lure, I'm not going to use a bait at this set. I'm not going to use any urines, any gland lures, any of my other proven products. All I'm going to do is I'm going to try this product out. And how I'm going to do this today, one thing I'm adding in addition to a dirt hole set, I'm using an RJ set, it's been a proven fur taker for me. But all I'm going to do is take the product and I'm going to put it in two locations. Location number one is I'm going to put it a little bit in the hole, just kind of what sticks on there. I'm going to put that in the hole. I'm going to put a little bit of a wool to kind of entice them. It's kind of like what we were talking about, something to get the animal kind of fired up. The other thing I'm going to do is, because I do want it to reach out a little bit, I'm going to smear just a little bit right there on the side of the hole. Get it into the wind. And boy, that really smeared nice. That's pretty much for this set, so let me just keep on moving. Folks, I'm at the second dirt hole set that I put in. Similar location here, just up from the previous set that I showed. Hopefully I'll get a double out of it. Again, taking Lure X and smearing just a little bit down in the hole, as it would if it were a bait. Taking a little bit of unwashed sheep wool for the visual excitement, where the animal can still see it but not reach it. And finally, I'm going to take just a little bit, just a lima bean size. I'm going to smear that on the side of the hole. You know, and it was important for me when I made this lure to get something that's somewhat fluid, somewhat that's kind of pasty. Somewhere right in between. This way the lure can be used in multiple applications. I'm going to put in some T-bone sets, some skull sets, different things like that, because it needs to be tested in a walkthrough. It needs to be tested on a grab and die, like a T-bone, or in dirt holes. So this is set number 2. Another Richard Johnson set's what I put in. I'm looking forward to seeing how I do. Well, here I am at a T-bone set that I'm putting in to test my Lure X to see how it does. The area I have is kind of a boneyard. A couple of dead cows have died in this draw, and there's nothing left on them anymore, just white bones and whatever. But it was a perfect spot for me to pound in a T-bone and kind of clear me off kind of a walkthrough zone here, and add a little subtle guiding just to kind of give you an idea of what I did to enhance this set a little bit, but nothing special really. I got a T-bone, and in this case I'm not even going to add any wool or any kind of an attractant. The bone should be enough. I'm going to put a little bit of it in that hole, and then I want to go ahead also, and I'm going to put some of it all around the hole, all around that bone, just to give it a little bit of interest, bring that bone back to life. There we go. Not much at all. Boy, it has a great odor to it, and I can't wait just to see actually what happens. Well, folks, we had ourselves a nice front move through. There's the T-bone set, and there's the T-bone set. Got the bones, got a good solid paw catch, and we caught ourselves a nice coyote.
I'm going to put him down, and I know that rancher is going to be very happy to have one less coyote out here messing with his stuff. But the main thing is, that's that new lure. The lure's working. It connected on this coyote. Did very well. So, good day to have a flat set when the weather turned the wrong way. So, friggin' awesome. First coyote caught on this. Alright folks, this is my second location of Lure X, and caught another coyote right here on the edge. As you recall, I have this nice drainage that I'm looking down, and I got a nice back edge. Yeah, it gave me a nice verbal cue. Anyway, this Lure X really seems to be the cat's meow. I really like it. 2 coyotes in a day's check, so had a nice weather front to help push the coyotes in. So anyway, very good lure testing so far.